What's up, everybody? Sorry I'm a couple minutes late. A lot of stuff going on today. It's just been a crazy kind of end of the week content-wise. We've recorded some videos we're going to play this weekend. Members will have early access to some of them. So if you are a member, keep an eye out for that. We've got a Murdoch update and a Jody Hildebrandt, Ruby Frankie update going this weekend. But this video, we are going to focus on an update in the Sarah Boone case. We've been waiting for months with nothing really happening, but our insider, Lori McGee, sent me an updated new motion that's actually very interesting. It's a short motion, but it has a couple of interesting factors in it that answer some of the questions we have about what will be different with this lawyer versus her prior lawyers. Is this case going to move along quickly? Is it going to take more time? And is this lawyer actually doing stuff for Sarah Boone? Will there be letters in the future of her complaining about that lawyer? We don't know, and we won't get that answer from the motion, but we are going to read through this together, and then we're also going to discuss some of the things that he points out that may be coming as defenses that we've wondered about, but haven't heard them specifically state they would be a defense for Sarah Boone. And then right after this video, again, speaking of all of the new content that's just popping up everywhere, that Las Vegas judge attack case that we discussed yesterday, some major updates, comments, reports, new charges, the defendant doing other things. That is going to immediately start right after this live. So you'll be redirected into the update on that Las Vegas judge case. So much going on. And the reason I was a few minutes late is because I got an email right before this started from Michael Ufferman, Charlie Adelson's new appellate lawyer that I emailed yesterday after the video. And a lot of you guys said you would like for him to come on to see what he has to say. And I emailed him, asked him, told him he probably can't come on and talk about the Adelson case, but if he wants to come on and talk maybe about the appellate process, would he be interested in that? And he wrote me back today and said, absolutely. While he can't talk Adelson specifically, he can talk about other appellate cases for similar crimes, the appellate process, the point of it, what the criminal defendant kind of goes through, why we have the process the way it is. He is literally an expert on appeals. So we're going to set that up for later this month, probably end of January is when you can expect to see something on that. You guys asked for it, so I decided to reach out, see if we can make it happen. And turns out we might be able to make that happen. So that's exciting. But Sarah Boone, hit that like button if you're here for Sarah Boone, right? Because that's the focus of this. And let's get into the motion here together. Make sure you subscribe if you guys haven't already. We're constantly trying to continue to bring you the content that you guys all are interested in and ask about. And Sarah Boone is one you always ask about. What's going on? What's the update? Is anything happening in this case? Why so much delay? Why so many lawyers? Things like that. Leslie, welcome to the membership crew. Donna, thank you for gifting a membership. And HJ Luna, thank you for gifting a membership. We are going to do kind of an impromptu bonus members only live later today to talk about the fantasy football league for the members. I ended up winning, which means you guys win as a membership crew. I'm going to be doing some giveaways on that. It's going to be short, informal, just kind of a hangout for any of the new members or anybody that wants to join before that. That's going to be this afternoon at some point whenever I get some time. Amy said, appreciate all you do, Peter, and go blue. Michigan in the college football championship. We'll talk about which school I want to win, who I'll be rooting for at a later date. Okay. Defendant's ex parte motion for the appointment of a forensic mental health expert or similar expert, fact investigator, and for approval of other necessary due process costs. So similar to what her prior lawyer was doing, asking the court for more public funding. They need more money to appropriately defend and handle this case. But what are they looking into? Will it be the battered spouse syndrome? Will it be something else? Let's talk about it. Comes now, the defendant, Sarah Boone, by and through undersigned counsel, and respectfully moves this honorable court ex parte, meaning it's just for them. The state doesn't need to be involved. It's just between the defense and the judge at this point, to enter an order appointing the following individual: a mental health psychologist or psychiatrist, expert, or other similar expert at an hourly rate and number of hours to be determined by this court, or for a flat fee, not a fat fee, a flat fee, and number of hours to be determined by this court plus costs. This motion has been filed and submitted to the JAC. In support of this motion, the undersigned states, Ms. Boone is before this court charged with second-degree murder in violation of Florida Statute 782.042, 775.0871, and 775.0872. Not unlike what has already happened and the prior motion that was delayed and then ended up not happening because that lawyer was off the case and we got a new lawyer on the case. So they want to redo at least part of the stuff we've already had to wait for, which sucks for Sarah Boone and seems like a wasted delay. But she was in favor of changing lawyers, and this is what happens in these processes. Unfortunately, it causes delays. So what do they want? The appointment of an expert is absolutely necessary to protect it should be Mrs. Sarah Boone's constitutional rights to a fair trial on the defining issue in this case, her right to mount a complete defense. So they need this money for her defense. To properly present testimony and evidence relating to the factors set forth by the state, undersigned counsel requires the services of a forensic mental health evaluator or similar expert to review certain evidence and make a detailed and scientific examination of certain evidence. They need to recommend or meet with other experts and testify at hearings and trial of this matter. Nothing out of the ordinary that anybody would have an expert do in any case. A duly qualified forensic mental health expert or similar expert possesses the needed skills and expertise that most lawyers simply do not have. Absolutely a true statement. The expert has the training and ability to collect, understand, and evaluate documentary evidence related to the crime charged and the death investigation, and potentially perform crime scene reconstruction in this case. So they're going to be a multifaceted expert. Linda Duray, PhD, LMHC, NBFE, CFMHE, is qualified to serve as a certified expert in the case in ongoing investigations and to provide testimony at hearings and assist in jury selection at the trial. Dr. Duray has been qualified as an expert in her areas of expertise on numerous occasions and in diverse circumstances, including in and out of the courtroom. She has testified as a certified expert in crime scene reconstruction, jury selection, and other situations that have required her expert qualifications. She is a practicing psychotherapist in Florida and in a total of 11 states across the country. Her expertise has been allowed in numerous jurisdictions. So first, let's just talk about this expert. So they want her to not only help with the psychological stuff, but also jury selection and crime scene reconstruction, which is pretty wild to me and interesting that maybe they think there are some issues with the crime scene. Will the prosecutors argue that Sarah Boone pushed her fiance down the stairs once he was in the suitcase? Will they argue that that's not how it would be based on how they reconstruct the crime scene? Those types of questions may come up in this case now based on this expert. We'll see. She's obviously qualified. Her qualifications are not going to be the issue. The issue is going to be how much money she wants. And the prior lawyer made arguments to the judge that the amount of money the JAC is allowing for this is just not enough to get a qualified expert for what they need, and therefore is not allowing Sarah Boone to have the defense the Constitution enforces and says she must have. So will they ask for more money than has currently been allotted? That's one of the questions here that's been similarly asked. Love is going to bring 20 of her friends with her to today's member only live. Thank you for gifting 20 memberships, Love. That's awesome. All right. So what do they want her to testify about? Dr. Duray is a certified forensic mental health evaluator and has expertise in the areas of potential defenses in this case. So these are all potential defenses in this case that the defense is looking at. Battered women's syndrome. We already know that. That's what the prior lawyer said. That's a defense it seems like Sarah Boone is on board with, since two of her lawyers obviously want to move forward with that. Domestic violence, another one. Personality disorders, that could be Sarah Boone's or that could be Jorge, the victim in this case. Are they going to talk about their personality disorders? We'll see. Battering husbands. Again, that goes hand in hand with battered woman syndrome. But they have added one in here that we've talked about from the jump. Alcoholic blackouts. Now, this could be towards Jorge saying that's when he gets abusive. He has these alcoholic blackouts, maybe. Or are they going to say which we have been asking since we heard about the story from the jump and watched her interrogation and the body cam footage. Did she just get so drunk she passed out, she blacked out? That's why she couldn't hear him screaming. That's why she forgot what was going on. That's why she kind of lost touch with reality. Is that what they are going to argue? And what I said was, at the time, this would be a pretty difficult argument based on what she said in the interrogation. And in case you don't remember what she said in the interrogation, I've pulled up a little clip of it here for us to watch together. So let's take a second and try to see how they would use alcoholic blackouts as a potential defense that she didn't know what she was doing, or this is something that mentally affected her, because we know that temporary insanity cannot be brought on by drugs or alcohol that you choose to ingest yourself as a criminal defendant in Florida. So we're going to listen to a few minutes of this clip, and I want you guys to tell me in the chat if you think, how viable you think an alcoholic blackout defense would be if this is what they come up with their new mental health expert and new lawyer. Sheila, court reporter, said, did Sarah Boone rave her speedy trial rights? Yes, she did. Francis Fitzgerald has gifted 5 more memberships as well. Thank you, Francis. Let's take a listen to this together, okay? In the mindset of now knowing a potential defense, for the first time we're hearing a potential defense of alcoholic blackouts for Sarah Boone.
Send me money, send me money. How can I send you money when I don't have a job? And he's still trying to take care of me and Lucas by paying a bill here or there, getting some groceries. So he always had something on his mind, which is why, again, I got the puzzles and the bank to try to get him off of it so we don't have a drink, or he doesn't have a drink.
So we don't have a drink, or he doesn't have a drink, okay? If you remember back to this interview, again, we did multiple breakdowns of it if you want to check it out on our Sarah Boone playlist, but she was very adamant. She's not a drunk. She doesn't drink that heavily. She's a great person. He sometimes drinks too much. Alcoholic blackouts, not just blackouts generally.
So when you all see my phone, you can see all of the damage he has done to me and the videos of him smashing my television because he's belligerently drunk. Where most of the time, I just don't want to be there. And I try to help him. I try to calm him down. Eventually, he just passes out.
Well, yesterday it made it sound like you guys were just drinking like a glass or two. Like, yeah, you obviously had the bottle, but you told me on recording, like, that you were not drunk. He was not drunk. You guys were having a good time.
I can't get drunk. Number one, I do.
If I'm the prosecutor, this is probably something I show the expert. If Sarah Boone takes the stand, this is probably something I show her. I probably present this anyways I just present this as evidence if they in fact use this defense. On the phone on the recording, you said you guys were just having a glass of wine. You said you weren't drunk. So she's already said it once to this officer. And then Sarah Boone again says, oh, yeah. I can't get drunk. And we're going to hear now more of her explanation.
Not want to get drunk. I don't like being non-complimentous, having my wits about myself. I don't like feeling out of control.
Mm-hmm.
So in the past, we've had cases where some of this stuff becomes an issue. And what she just said is the exact opposite of what we usually argue. We argue the alcoholic blackouts or alcoholism or drug abuse makes people lose their wits. They don't know what they're doing. They lose control. It has an effect on the brain over time, over a number of years. And maybe that's why that's some mitigating factor in sentencing, or why they didn't do it, or they didn't have the proper mens rea. Meaning mental state. Well, she literally blows a hole in that in this interview, which we talked about at the time, but I thought it was relevant to play again. I'm going to back it up so you guys can hear her again confirm she wasn't drunk. She can't get drunk, and why she doesn't like getting drunk, because she likes to be in control of her normal faculties. So she knows what she's doing. And then the argument continues for the prosecution in this case. So you knew exactly what you were doing that night.
I can't
on recording, like, that you were not drunk, he was not drunk, you guys were having a good time.
I can't get drunk. Number one, I do not want to get drunk. I don't like being non-complimentous, having my wits about myself. I don't like feeling out of control.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm just saying, you're making it sound like he's a raging alcoholic today, and yesterday I was kind of asking you those questions, and you're like a little defensive, like, no, we're not alcoholics.
I'm not.
We are not, you know, but you guys were both sober on Sunday, to your knowledge, because when I said you went and passed out, you were like, no, I didn't pass out, I just fell asleep. So now it's kind of like, what is it? Were you guys drinking and it got out of hand and it got physical?
No.
Or is it?
Sunday was one of the better days that we have had in quite some.
Absolutely no. That is not what happened. Now, a lot of people are saying alcoholics deny that they have a problem. I agree with you. And maybe that's something that the expert will say. John O'Rourke, again, brings up another argument the expert could make. Long-term effects from drug and alcohol abuse. Absolutely, you can use that type of stuff. Now, it can't be an insanity defense, but it can come into the battered spouse syndrome when drinking gets involved and things like that, and maybe how her mind perceives things and the fear that she may have been in because he was drunk and she was drunk, because in the past, when they both get drunk, he starts to act a certain way, and that's why her fear rose to a certain level. So those types of arguments and things can be implemented into the discussion of the defense, but there's no way, in my opinion, they will have any sort of a good defense saying she got drunk and blacked out and didn't know what happened because of these comments. So this defense is going to have to be kind of finely tuned to match the discussion points that she is making in these. I mean, there's so much that she said. Any lawyer is going to have some trouble going through all this and still trying to formulate a defense. Lisa S., I don't think it's unusual for an alcoholic or addict to lie to cover up the addiction or alcoholism. And maybe that's what the expert will say. She's clearly lying. She always lies about it. Maybe Sarah Boone will take the stand and say, I lied about being an alcoholic because I didn't want people to know. But we've seen that in the past, like Alec Murdaugh admitting to being a liar usually doesn't help you when you need the jury to believe at least some of what you're saying on the stand. The fear in the moment is that they may lose custody or other consequences due to the addiction. 100% I agree with that. And I'm not trying to be insensitive to that. What I'm trying to say is, legally speaking, when you make these kinds of arguments, it's difficult, number one, if you don't have all of this. But if you also have, at the time, her saying she's not drunk, it's going to be difficult. But if she has astute members of the jury that understand the nuances to alcoholism and alcoholics denying that they have a problem, then maybe it won't be a problem. And maybe this is a defense that they're going to have. And this is why hearing comments from lay people who are much more likely to be on a jury than I ever will be is very helpful to a lawyer. And why sometimes, even though a client says something, it doesn't totally remove a potential defense. Thank you, Donna Cole, for gifting another membership. And Netwoman's in here, gifting away as she usually does. Thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. All right, let's listen to a little bit more of this.
He's dancing with my dog. You can see that too on the pictures, him loving the dog. He loves the dog and dancing around, having a good time, and just being happy kind of thing. He doesn't know. I can get like maybe 2-3 glasses of wine and I'll be fine. But I have to have my wits about myself because I don't know what to expect.
Well, let's talk about Sunday. What was Sunday? How were you? Like, how many glasses of wine did you have? How many glasses of wine did he have? The bottle was gone. I mean, I don't know if you poured any out. Yes.
No, that was from previous.
You said that there was a half bottle left over.
That was much.
Mm-hmm. And then that you had went. Well, I don't even know how the wine. How'd you guys get the wine for Sunday?
I'm guessing he went to Publix.
Does he like leave the house and you stay home, or do you go to Publix? Like, cause
Sometimes I'll go with him.
Okay. Did you go with him Sunday to Publix?
So most of the time, what happens is, because the convenience store where we get cigarettes is here, and then Publix literally is cattywampus to it.
Okay.
So what he'll do is he'll go by Publix, and then on the way back catch the convenience store.
Okay.
So
is that what he did Sunday?
I'm guessing that's what he did, because the next thing I know, he's walking in with a bottle.
Okay.
So it's him trying to be nice, so I don't have to go out and do it. Plus, there's stuff that are around the house that I had to take care of. So that's usually what will happen. Or I'm folding laundry and he'll go run out and do whatever.
Okay. So where were you guys at on drunkenness, not drunkenness on Sunday? You told us you weren't drunk.
No, I was not drunk. Right. I was not drunk. So with him, I don't know.
Multiple times confirming she was not drunk. Now, I knew you guys would bring this up, and this is a great point, or I should say counterpoint. that her expert absolutely should and I think will use. Number one, Ms. Trial said, her husband said she was unreliable due to her drinking. So maybe her ex-husband, I think you're talking about her ex-husband, will actually testify and give some things that are good for her that she was an alcoholic. And then number two, Leslie said she was wasted on the video she recorded. Maybe she wasn't drinking, but something affected her. That's the other thing. We watched and listened to those recordings and they were brutal to listen to and watch. But she definitely sounded like she was slurring her speech and she did not have her wits and wasn't competent like she said she was. And she keeps referencing her phone, like they're going to see her phone, they're going to see her phone. She's giving them her phone almost like she forgot or didn't know how bad she sounded, which again could be denial of her alcoholism. So this is why it's so great to look at this stuff from both angles and from both ways and seeing the arguments that could be made. All right, maybe just a little bit more.
I know when it's like, oh, okay, man, where I have told him, slow down. It's starting to catch up with you. Slow down, slow down. And another thing too is I don't like listening to music with him because he gets too involved in the music, and the music that he listens to is a little rough around the edges, and like just, it makes me fractious listening to his music. So I kept asking him, let's just you and me talk. You and me will just be the ones that are talking, which was fine because I mean, we were playing with the dog, whatever. And then it's like, okay, now let's do the painting. We just did the puzzle, took a break. Now let's do this. Sure enough, sat down. We're sitting there talking, laughing, talking about new movies. We're watching movie trailers while we're doing.
All right, I think you got the gist of the comments that she made with regards to drinking, at least in that section. There were other comments as well, but I think we get the gist at that point. So we'll see how that goes for them. John says, can they actually prove this? It's second degree, right? So they don't have to prove intentional homicide. I think that would be difficult for them. But basically that she acted with a depraved heart, reckless disregard for human life, that she did actions that she knew or should have known were going to bring about the death of somebody else. And it wasn't necessarily an accident. She intentionally did those actions. So we'll see. I think it's possible, but I think there are some defenses potentially. It's interesting though, because I think a lot of the defenses are kind of that they're trying to use now don't really go with how she was acting right after it happened, but we'll see. Francis said she sounded drunk on the video when he was begging to get out of the suitcase. Blackouts shouldn't be a defense. So they're not an insanity defense. It's not the same thing. It's kind of goes to the element of the crime, or it can go as a mitigating factor towards sentencing. We'll have to see how they develop this defense. And in the future, maybe I'll bring my dad on because we've used these types of defenses in the past and they only work in certain circumstances. Net Woman, 50 bagger of new membership. So who's coming with us to the members only live bonus live today? That's the question. Turn on your free gifting here so you can accept one of these gifted memberships. All right, let's keep reading. Ms. Boone seeks the appointment of Dr. Linda Dure as a forensic mental health expert, in this case, for the reasons cited above, at an hourly rate and number of hours or a flat rate, all based on hours of work and related expenses and costs to be determined at a hearing in this court. As an initial matter, Dr. Dure requires a reasonable upfront retainer in the matter. The retainer may be prorated as this court deems appropriate based on hours to be worked and expenses and costs. Without the expert and expertise described herein, Ms. Boone would be denied a complete defense in her case. The CV of the proposed desired expert is attached hereto as Exhibit A. Do we have Exhibit A? We don't. Her resume seems good enough, right? Obviously, it seems like she's definitely qualified. It's just going to come down to the money. And they need more money for other miscellaneous costs. Counsel will seek approval for certain costs, such as transcripts, before ordering them as required by the JAC. Counsel will seek specific approval regarding costs, expenses from the court before conducting any out-of-state travel of the expert, which is not anticipated. As always, this court retains its power to approve or deny on an interim basis and or at the end of the case or prior to the conclusion of the case, all specific fees and costs ultimately invoiced that are not covered by this motion. Wherefore, the defendant requests that this motion be granted and that the court order the following: appointment of a mental health forensic expert, Linda Dure, PhD, plus a bunch of other letters, at a rate to be determined by this court to include costs and various expenses at a hearing on the matter, and at such a time to determine a cap on the expert fees and costs in defense of the case. Counsel also moves the court to order an initial fee to be determined at the hearing and to be paid once the expert is retained, exclusive of costs. Signed by the new attorney, Winston Hobson. So here's what I'll say. This is something that needs to happen in a hearing in front of the court. Why is that important? Well, one of the reasons it's important is because this shows there is going to be yet another delay in this case. And this is not going to be something that happens quickly, because now that they have this motion, they need to take the time to set the hearing, coordinate with the JAC. Then the court makes the decision. He's going to give her the initial retainer. Then they have to retain this expert. Then this expert has to interview Sarah Boone, go through all of the recordings, go through the body cam footage, hopefully, go through the interrogation, go through the walk through the house, go through the discovery we haven't seen that'll be produced by the state, go through any questions the defense has, provide a report to the defense, provide that report to the state, probably get deposed by the state, maybe any updated reports. The state will have to see if they have to hire any experts to counteract this expert. The defense will have to either, there might be a Dauber challenge. Is this expert even testifying an expertise that they agree will be helpful to a jury and appropriate for this case? And then once the state gives their counter experts, will the defense have any Dauber challenges? The defense will have to get their reports that they do. This expert may have to respond to those reports. The defense will have to depose those experts. There may be hearings to see what these experts can and can't testify. If they don't get struck in their entirety, well, parts of their report get struck. And because she has all these different specialties, jury consultant, reconstruction of the scene, and then the psychological or psychiatric type of expertise, the mental health expertise, well, they have to get 2 or 3 experts to counteract her. This shows there's a lot that still needs to be done in this case. And this case is far from over. Nicole said it still blows my mind how much she talked during this. Yes. Probably blows every defense attorney's mind that comes and tries to represent her. And this expert has a lot that she needs to work through. HJ Luna and Donna Cole gifted another membership each. Thank you guys so much. Riri said, the defense wouldn't work for me if I was a juror. And I think that the point is not necessarily will the defense work or not work at this point, because we haven't heard all the other evidence, right? But just based off that interrogation, I think it'll turn some jurors off. Other jurors, with the context of her slurring her speech in the video, what her ex-husband said, the fact that they admittedly drank at least a few glasses of wine, maybe she's denying the alcoholism, that there is some opportunity potentially for this defense. All right. A couple other comments from earlier in the video. Kelly said, my 10-year-old has nonverbal email autism, brain cancer, and epilepsy. We live in Orlando. He's a St. Jude patient. He had the worst seizure yesterday, and you and the content is what got me through yesterday. Kelly, there's no words to deal with that when dealing with a child going through all of this. So I really pray for strength and peace and comfort for you and your son and your family. And I think these trials test the strength that we have. We never think we have the strength for these things until it comes upon us, and he needs you and he appreciates your strength and you being there, I'm sure. I don't know how or why this content fits into that, but I appreciate you saying that, and I'm glad that maybe it keeps your mind busy. And we've got a lot of stuff coming. Another video coming right after this. I see that you're a member. A members only live coming later. Videos coming this weekend. So hopefully it'll help you pass the time. And again, you and your son will be in my prayers for sure. Dorothy said, oh man, love the green. My hubby loves the cream color one. Going on the website now to get this one. He's an icon, as you have seen him before. Yes. We see him in your icon photo. Yeah, this is my favorite piece of merch, and it's one that I wear all the time. I keep it at my office for whenever it's cold. It's kind of my go-to sweatshirt that I throw on. H. Bain and Sandy Knight, welcome. Susan Moody as well. Welcome to the new members that are going to come hang out later on, hopefully. Ashley, best guess on when this trial starts. 2025. I think it's a 2025 trial. I remember when we did kind of the end of 2022 wrap up trials we were looking forward to in 2023. This was like first on the list. Tara, thank you for gifting a membership. Crazy Cat Queen, I sent Dure's public CV to your IG DM as a pick. Yeah, I think I did read it. I saw this exhibit somewhere. I don't really think we have to go through it. I think the point is she's probably a qualified expert. The question is going to be how much does she charge, and will the JAC and the court approve that? That's really what it comes down to in this situation. Brittany John, welcome to the membership crew. KO, Peter, what color was the beanie that you wore on JB? The camel? I think so. I don't know. John would have to answer that. John, can you answer that in the chat? Because he orders all those samples. It was a yellowish color with a white LYK. Melissa said that sounds like hundreds of thousands of dollars as an expert. Who even has that amount of money with that big of a CV? I don't think it's going to be hundreds of thousands of dollars. I don't think. I think it'll be less than $100,000 for this expert on this case. It's just my guess. Danielle, I agree. So much generosity all the way around. How are the gifted memberships distributed? I believe they're random. I believe it is random. And so hopefully you guys turn them on and randomly you'll get one of Netwoman's 20 most recently gifted memberships. All right, let me see if there's anything else here. Oh, interesting. Crazy Catwoman said, Dure is a film producer and was on Oprah, MBA consultant. Okay, let me check out my Instagram here. I don't know how to look at it on the computer, so I'm going to look at it here. All right, here we go. Oh, it's so she's in Winter Park, Florida, which is good because that's right where this case is. California School of Professional Psychology. She has her master's, bachelor's, PhD for a long time. 1970, she graduated from college. 77, she got her PhD. So what is that? 30 plus years. Expert witness and consultant to attorneys and legal systems, personal injury, criminal law, family law, and employment law. Psychotherapist, private practice, author, writer, columnist. Yep, Oprah, NBA, talk show host, co-producer, media guest, commentator. It's quite the resume. That is quite the resume. So, we'll have to see. It seems like she's definitely competent. She's probably great at testifying if she's a podcast host, producer, host of different shows and things like that. Welcome, Kathy. Harry Potter's beard. Your chances improve for getting a membership if you subscribe, like, and comment frequently. I'm always here yapping, and I've been blessed with a fair few gift memberships. Yes, like, subscribe, and comment. That always helps. That always helps everybody. Ellie, welcome to the crew. And Mama Wolf gifted 5 memberships as well. Guess we can pull this off the screen now. I'll answer a couple more questions. I have about a minute left, and then you will redirect automatically into a pretty wild update. Some stuff you're probably not going to be happy about that's happening with that guy that attacked the judge in Las Vegas. Netwoman, is this the first lawyer that has kept in contact with Sarah Boone? Haha, glad that she found one that finally meshes with her needs. Do you know him, Peter? I do not know Mr. Hobson. I do know an attorney Hobson. It's criminal defense lawyer of Florida, not this one. And we don't know that she meshes or that he meshes with her needs yet. She hasn't complained about him yet. She hasn't written any letters yet. At least it seems like he must be talking to her and they're kind of planning and discussing different defenses and the same defenses that came up before. So I do appreciate that, that it does seem like he's at least working on the case. Christy, has Sarah Boone been evaluated by another expert already? I believe so. I'd be surprised if she hasn't been evaluated by anybody. Keela, welcome to the crew. And Tina, thank you for gifting 5 new memberships. And I see people thanking the people they get to get gifted memberships from. I appreciate the appreciation in the chat. Mary said, very excited for the redirect, as that was wild. Yes. Angelina said, where's Lawyer You Know based out of? Tampa, Florida. Clearwater, technically a suburb of Tampa in the Tampa Bay area. That's where our law firm is. I am a real lawyer too. A lot of people don't believe it. I don't know if it's the hair or what, but tragoslaw.com, which is my last name and our law firm, if you want to check it out. We've got about 6 lawyers, 12 or 13 staff. We handle personal injury, wrongful death, catastrophic injury, trucking accidents, car accident cases. And then my dad handles a select number of criminal defense cases with another one of our associates. I did a lot more criminal earlier in my career, but I love representing injured victims and victims of situations that they can't help on their own. And we're also have lawyers barred in most states across the country for trucking accidents, car accident type cases. KO, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. Interesting. Don Marie said you won't get a gifted membership if you have a brand account. I didn't know that. I have no control over who gets the gifted memberships. Yeah. The Marshal had a nasty injury. I talk a little bit about that in the next video. Michelle thinks she'll complain about that alcoholic blackout defense. I don't know. After all these years and all this time trying to find a defense and find a way, I think she wants to win. I think she wants to win. All right. We are going to hit that redirect now. Expected young Dolph start date. I don't know what this means. I don't know, Jose. I apologize. KO, thank you for gifting 5 more memberships on the way out. Hit that like button, everybody. And when you get to the redirected video, make sure you start by hitting that like button. I appreciate everybody being here. Until next time, I'm out of here. Thanks for watching another episode of The Lawyer You Know. If you enjoyed the episode, please hit the thumbs up and share with your friends who may be interested here on YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. And don't forget to check out the Lawyer You Know podcast with new seasons dropping every quarter. If you have a case you want to talk to us about, if it's a personal injury case, wrongful death, catastrophic injury, car accident, or slip and fall case, please email us at lawyeryouknow@gmail.com. And of course, all these links I just mentioned are included in the description below on this episode and every episode. So until next time, this is Peter Tragos, the Lawyer You Know.